What's up, guys? It's Ben with 2020 election predictions, and today I think I'm doing a very exciting video. I'm going to do Trump's best case scenario in the electoral college, which I think has improved since the last video, because I think when I did Trump's last best case scenario was in June or July, when Trump was really down in the polls, really down in the betting odds, and it really looked like that Trump's best case scenario was him just narrowly winning the electoral college, or recreating his win in 2016. So let's just dive right in. And before I do that, I want to remind you all to please subscribe if you haven't already. I'm about at 1,500 subscribers, which is really awesome. We're about 9 weeks from the election. My goal is to get to 2,500 subscribers by the election. I'm going to do a massive giveaway then to reward all my fans who've been with me since day one. I know a bunch of y'all have been with me when I was just at 10 or 100 subscribers, and y'all staying with me and helping my channel grow. So thank you very much. All right, so diving right in, let's look at I kind of want to go over some of these states. So I think Texas, Iowa, and Ohio could very well remain in the likely Republican categories like they were in 2016. I think Texas, even in Trump's best case scenario, I think it's going to move to the left just a little bit, but we could still see Trump having it over 5% points. And the likely characterization is between 5 and 12 points. Lean is between 2 and 5, and tilt is 2 under. And same with the Rust Belt states that Trump won by, I think, 9 or 10 or 9 points here and 8 points here, I believe. So yeah, I think those will stay. And I think where Trump maybe could gain some ground potentially would be like in Rhode Island, Connecticut, New Jersey, and Oregon. The only reason I don't say Delaware is because that's where Joe Biden is from. So I think he's kind of got that on lockdown. But let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so first of all, I think that Trump very well could make Georgia a lean Republican state. This is kind of where it was in 2016. Trump won it by 5 points. I think he's probably going to match that. I think that in my real projections, I think this could be a tilt Republican state. I think Joe Biden, just because Georgia's been trending leftward, I think that he definitely could outperform Hillary Clinton here. But I think in Trump's best case scenario, kind of just holds what he did in 2016. Next up is the state of North Carolina. I kind of think of the same thing, same logic with Georgia. Trump won the state by 3.5 points. I think he could recreate that in his best case scenario. With some of these states that are trending leftward, like Texas, Arizona, Georgia, North Carolina, kind of in the Sun Belt, since they're trending leftward. In Trump's best case scenario, like let's say the economy is doing really well, we get a coronavirus vaccine. Biden really falters in the debates. Trump just crushes him. In these scenarios, I think what Trump would do is kind of just stop the leftward trends in some of these states, and maybe even outperform a little bit in his 2016 victory. But we will see. Okay, so next up, moving to Arizona. Same logic here. Even though that the Democrats picked up the seat in 2018, I think in Trump's best case scenario, he wins Arizona by 3 to 4 points, and even maybe drags Martha McSally along to the finish line, where she wins. But right now, I'm projecting Martha McSally to lose. Next up, we're going to do a state like Wisconsin. In Trump's best case scenario, he improves on his victory in Wisconsin. He won it in 2016 by 0.7 percentage points, which was less than a percentage point. But I think in his best case scenario, Trump wins this state by like 2 to 3 to 4 percentage points. So while I don't think this is likely right now, I think Wisconsin's going to be a very, very competitive state. I have it just as a tilt characterization either way. In Trump's best case scenario, if the economy's booming, Biden really falters. I think that's kind of the main variable that would need to happen. Like either Biden has significant cognitive decline, or just Trump steamrolls him in the debates, and Trump is very kind of contains himself on Twitter and is more disciplined, then I think this is where we could see this scenario happen. Same with Pennsylvania. I think if Trump is very disciplined, then he could win a state like Pennsylvania, which I think will be harder for him to win than 2016 because I think Biden will have a better appeal. But I mean, if Biden just isn't there mentally and physically, then I could definitely see Trump improve upon his 2016 performance. And this is the Rust Belt was just a place overall where Trump did very well and outperformed a lot of earlier Republican candidates. Lastly is the state of Florida. I think that Trump can improve upon his 2016 performance in his best case scenario. Right now, it's not looking great for Trump in the state of Florida, but there's still a lot of things that can happen. Republicans won statewide in 2018. So that is evidence that even when the currents are very against the Republicans, people have called 2018 as a blue wave or blue tsunami. Florida was the only outlier. And I mean, so there's evidence that there are a lot of registered Republican voters, still more registered Republicans than Democrats. But recently, a lot of more moderate Republicans have been in polls have said they've not approved of Trump's coronavirus response. But especially if we get a vaccine, the country starts to reopen, I could see states like Florida, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin going more for Trump. And I don't think this outcome is like super likely, but this like I think it's possible. And I did a video on Biden's best case scenario where Biden won over 300 electoral votes. I think it's possible, but I definitely think one of the outcomes is going to become one of these two extremes. Next up, I'm going to move to the lean Democratic states. I think New Mexico could be a lean Democratic state. I think Trump could improve upon his 2016 performance. If we look at the results in New Mexico, we can see that Gary Johnson almost got double digits. I think Trump could pick up some of these Gary Johnson voters. There's evidence that Trump is actually outperforming his 2016 performance in the polls with Latino voters. And New Mexico is one of the few states that has a plurality of Hispanic voters. So, I mean, I think this state definitely could be a little closer than it was in 2016, but I don't see Trump being able to win it even in his best case scenario. Next up is the state of Virginia. Virginia's just been trending leftward a lot. In 2016, it was a let's see, this would actually be a likely Democratic scenario. Just because Biden's been in D.C. for a while, and there's like in Northern Virginia, it's a lot of D.C. people. I think I might even have Virginia as a likely Democratic state, just because I really think it's going to be hard for a Republican to ever win Virginia because it's just trending so far leftward, especially with its proximity to D.C. Next up, I'm going to move to the lean Republican states. I think Trump could definitely pick up Minnesota if he does very well. I mean, there have been polls that, out of Minnesota that have it virtually tied. And if we tie in the shy voter effect and maybe some bias towards Democrats in the polls, especially in the Rust Belt, like we saw in 2016, Minnesota could be very winnable for Donald Trump. And even I could have Minnesota in Trump's best case scenario as a lean Republican state. Next up, going to the state of Michigan. I think Michigan would still be a tilt Republican state like it was in 2016. I think just some of the political wins in Michigan, it's going to be hard for Trump to get over that 2% hump. That would be the lean characterization. I think with a lot of the urban areas that I think will be that there will be more turnout there. I think less people are going to like vote for the Green Party candidate there, especially like Jill Stein did get a pretty big proportion of the votes. However, I know a lot of people are not very happy about Gretchen Whitmer's kind of very strict coronavirus measures. So I think it's very possible that Trump could win in the state of Michigan again, but I definitely think it's going to be more difficult. Trump right now has pulled out funding out of Michigan, so that's right now I have it as a lean Democratic state in my normal electoral map, and in my Biden's best case scenario would be likely Democratic. But if Trump puts more funding back in there and holds some rallies like he did in 2016, he could pull a huge upset win like he did. He won by 0.3% of the vote. New Hampshire, I think, could also be a tilt Republican state. I definitely think it would be an upstream battle because just I think New Hampshire, just looking at the polls, I think Biden's up double digits right now. It was the closest state in terms of raw votes. I mean, look, I mean, Trump only lost it by 0.3 percentage points, a couple thousand votes. So I think definitely Trump could win it. And lastly, going to the state of Nevada, I think could be a tilt Republican state. I mean, this one would really be tough for Trump to win just because I think the polls, it's one of the states where it's actually biased towards the Republicans. But I think in Trump's best case scenario, he could kind of win over more of the Hispanics than he did in 2016. And lastly, I think Colorado still would be a tilt Democratic state. It's just shifted so far left. And I think that with the Senate race having an incumbent Republican and John Hickenlooper is not as strong of a Democratic candidate as I thought because he's had some scandals. I think this maybe could help President Trump, but I just think since Colorado's trended so far to the left. So there you have it right now, 326 to 210. So Biden's best case scenario, he does get a little bit more electoral votes than Trump, but I mean this is still a very strong victory, better than his 2016 performance, and he would win by over 100 electoral votes. So that's definitely significant. I don't know if this would be considered a landslide, but it would be close to it. So if you like this video, please subscribe. Please share it with your friends. If you have friends that are interested in politics and kind of you think would be interested in my channel, you can just send them a link or just like text them about you can look up 2020 election predictions because I'm really trying to grow my channel right now. I'm about 1,500 subscribers, trying to get to 25 by election day, and I really want to do that giveaway because I'm very excited about that. So thanks guys for watching, and I'll see y'all later and be on the lookout for a new video tomorrow.